Hello everybody, this is Pablo back out with another YouTube page. I'm testing out this new webcam, so hopefully the video quality goes well. Well, anyways, the main topic today is, am I still considered young? I'm 44 years old. I just made 44 years old. So obviously I don't think of myself as a young man, but a few weeks ago when I was talking to a doctor, he kept saying, young man, young man. I'm like, dude, I'm in my 40s. But I guess if you're over 60, anybody younger than 50 is young. And who gets to be considered old and who gets to be considered young kind of depends on the situation. Like, for example, Kamala Harris is 6 years old. She's considered young because she was working for Joe Biden. Joe Biden is 81. So anybody compared to Joe Biden would be considered young. I mean, Joe Biden makes Donald Trump look young. And Donald Trump is 78. So I guess that's because if we're comparing Kamala Harris to Donald Trump and Joe Biden, okay, she's considered young. Even though she's older than me, but JD Vance is younger than I am. I'm 44. JD Vance is 40. So if him and Trump wins, which I hope they don't, but if they do win and something happens to Trump, well then he's in office again and JD Vance becomes president. Guess what? I'd be older than the president. So am I considered young? I don't think so, but I think another reason why too I don't really consider myself young, man, is there's a generation gap between me and those who are in their 20s. I'm not saying one generation is better than the other. I'm not one of those, back in my day, everything was done. No. It's just there's a difference. Like when I became a young man, okay, I was born in 1980, okay? So when I became a young man, let's say year 2000, Facebook did not exist yet. MySpace didn't even exist yet. So obviously we didn't have Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok. YouTube did not exist yet. iPhones did not exist yet. Smartphones probably was in the development stages back when BlackBerry and Palm Pilot was considered the leaders. I mean, I guess they were kind of still developing a smartphone, but 2000, I didn't know what a smartphone was. It wasn't even part of people's lives. That stuff was still in the experimental stage. Whereas those who are now in their 20s, it's like they grew up with social media. They grew up with YouTube. They grew up with a smartphone. So there's a generation gap between people my age and people in their 20s. So that's why, like, I don't consider myself young man. There's a generation gap, or like another frame of reference. Okay, so when I became a young man, early 2000, right? 2001, 9/11 happened. That was happening when I was considered a young man. People in their 20s now would have no memory of 9/11. Like those who are 20 this year, born 2004. They weren't even born yet when 9/11 happened. So when they first heard about it, versus when my generation first heard about it, we heard about it in real time. Well, actually in my case, I'm in Hawaii, so it's like we're like a couple hours behind New York. So when it happened in New York, most people in Hawaii were sleeping. Well, I got up, got a call from my mom saying the World Trade Center got bombed, so it thought it'd be like 93. But come to find out later in the day, it was the planes crashing. But again, that time we didn't have YouTube. We didn't have Facebook, we didn't have Instagram, so it's not like we can go watch a video of the planes crashing to the towers. And the thing is, that day that I was in a dorm, the TV wasn't even working. I was about to replace that TV. So it took me a while to actually see images of the plane crashing. Information traveled slower back in those days. Whereas now, if an incident happens now, in less than an hour, it's all over social media. You can see the imagery on YouTube. Back then, information traveled a little slower. So because of things like that, that's why there's a generation gap between people my age, 44, versus those in their 20s. So I don't really consider myself young, man. I mean, I'm middle-aged. But I guess if you compare me to Joe Biden, I'm considered young. Well, you know the thing is, my parents aren't even as old as Joe Biden. Even my parents aren't as old as Joe Biden. So I guess anybody compared to Joe Biden is considered young. Even 60-year-old Kamala Harris is considered young compared to Joe Biden. So I guess Joe Biden would consider me a young man, but so those are just like, those who are in school now, they consider me an old fart already. It's like, they consider my life experience as prehistoric, but that's just how it goes. Anyways, I think that's it. I'll have to say about young and old and all that stuff, right? Thank you for watching.